Hello, I am back again for another update for our fighting game NIE, but it's more like a half an update as we're really just talking about the journey that really took place to create the idle animation for character N. This is, of course, the third character in the base roster of this fighting game. Very unique character, very different, and it's been a very long time since I really got to start the whole process over again with another character, and we'll be showing the character more properly in game later, at least for what we have so far, which is just the idle and stun animations. So, when creating this character, we had a lot of different ideas in our mind. They're very Luffy inspired, so we had a lot of things like that. One of which we'll get to more later, which is also kind of spoiler territory for semi recent stuff. It's stuff that's already happened in the anime as well, though. But oh, needs to be further down. Where do we start? So we start moving right around. I believe 44 is the loop point then. So we go to 44. And then we go here, so maybe a little bit more. Or not game. Okay. There we go. Starting to go into another animation. So we stop it. Going around, round, round. Boom. So 44, 72, which really means we got to go to 71 so it loops properly. And this was just about the first idea we really got together, at least the first idea that was fully animated and we still kept. We had a couple others that were weird, like an inflatable two-man, just a much more lean, but this is kind of just the evolution of that premise. Kind of the whole body coming out of the ground, doing this whole wavy nonsense back and forth. But for the sake of an idle animation, it's even though this character is meant to be weird, it's a bit too weird. So we kind of just didn't use it, but it looks like the guy's being damaged. So what did we do? We found a very good frame, about 52, and that is now the stun animation. And normally what we do with a lot of things is we create our animations first in vector and then go elsewhere. This time around I want to try going in 3D first. Didn't work out too well for the most part. But we did get this gem out of it, which resulted in a lot of cool art for the other stun animations. We go to end of 72. Starting around here. Alright, starting at 73 is where we get the drums of liberation. The question, oh, I believe it loops to 104. But for those of you familiar with current One Piece stuff, the drums of liberation are very prevalent. Maybe that's not where it loops. Boom. Or maybe I just need to be one frame earlier? I think I need to be earlier on this side then. 71, 72, 73. 74 seems like an actual solid point. There we go. Yep, this was a strong contender for a long time. This almost became our idle animation. So much so that I actually put this in the game and I was really looking at it and I was like, well, it kind of just doesn't work for a couple of reasons. A, because you're not going to get this level of like rhythm and fluidity properly done in lower pixel versions. And that's kind of something I ran into as I realized I really do have to just keep my animations quite simple because if I overcomplicate them, I'm going to run into the issue when I make them, not in vector. Vector can handle a lot. High pixel, you can probably run into some issues there, but low pixel especially, yeah, if the animation isn't simple enough, you're gonna not be able to do this. It'll literally just be the hand bum 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 bum, and it could still work. It wouldn't look as good though. That's what we ended up with. But that's where we were for a while. We had one more that just really didn't work out, like so much to this point where we started it, but like it just oh. Like we did this one, which we got to the point where we did that. It was gonna be like a whole wiggle hand, wiggle hand, wiggle hand, kind of like loosening the joints, kind of stretching situation. And I just was like, no, there is no way to animate this in pixel form. Because that's relying purely on 3D space for this, or at least no way to animate it, especially with the low pixel form, not properly. Instead, we ended up on something that I at least consider to be a lot better. Hopefully, I'm on the correct frames already. But yeah, we got to this weird kind of head turning, kind of almost fanning yourself off thing. It looks much more like a fan off when you get to certain other ones. This one's a bit slower, more. But we got to this point because we didn't do this in 3D first. We went to vector and we figured out what would work. We found this nice little pose and we made a bunch of duplicates of the hand because if you start rotating things in Photoshop, it rotates all your frames. So unless you create and export each individual frame separately from one another, this really is your best way of going about it because using the frame animation timeline is really good. And if you don't do it like this, you're not going to be able to use the frame animation timeline, at least not properly. You could still copy paste each individual image, and yeah, so that could work because your visibility still is a thing. And I guess that it maybe is the simpler way of going about it, but I feel like this still works. We just have a bunch of different hands you can turn on and off rather than having to then copy paste them if you want them at a different frame instead. But now we can look at it actually in the game. F11. I should press F10 on accident, so. But yeah, as you can see, and is here. They have a lot of cloth simulation on things. Cloth simulation has also been added to other things. It's hard to tell maybe a little bit with character E, but they do have cloth simulation on their thing. They can float for about 2 seconds until then they get sent back to the earth. And as you can see right now, and has a double jump. Every character is going to have their own jump special. Why is it up to 32 again? I turned it down to 20 during the last recording of this. Whatever. But yeah, they can jump around. Very cool stuff. But now let's go see the animation. So we have our idle, our stun. And that's the same for, of course, both forms. You just see that the lines became a lot more bold. There's some lighting that stuff that can be changed for sure to make the line stand out more that actually do exist on the other form. Now we go into vector. We have our idle and our stun. We go into high pixel. We have our idle and our stun. Then we go into low pixel. We have our idle and our stun. And overall, I'm really happy with all the results. I think this is the character's going in a good place. Some of the animations, unlike something like this character, doesn't have a attack, so I can't actually show off damage right now. That's not linked up to anything, but as of right now, it's working out. I'm really liking how these animations are looking. I'm planning on bringing the stuns of the 2D forms down a little bit lower to where the hands are touching the ground. They're still going to be off the ground, of course. They're still going to be like a bit jarring, but it's going to be... The entire point with how I'm doing or stylizing the stuns in this game whenever you're being damaged is it's very obvious that you're being damaged because you're stuck in a freeze frame. And it adds extra emphasis. But I am glad this recording went through. Last time it stopped me about 3 minutes and I didn't even realize. Thank you all so much for watching. Next update should be quite juicy. We should hopefully have this character done, as in we'll have their attack we'll have a singular attack animation, their block animation, all sorts of stuff like that. I'm just kind of forgetting one of them off the top of my head, I'm sure, but some jump stuff, because they will be having this thing where they spin while they jump instead. But also, as you can see, the character can maybe, there we go, land on the other person. But I think once they start spinning while they jump, that's going to eliminate that entirely, just kind of byproduct. But you can just, if they land on you, you can just be like, what are you doing on me? Let me just move back up, and then combo them. So it's not to their advantage to land on you, because characters have a 0-degree threshold for what they can stand on. So if they get on you perfectly, yeah, it's a bit annoying, but you can pretty much do any change to your animation and be like, get off. Ooh. What is going on there? It's a hard character to get over for some reason. I need to figure out some more stuff with the physics assets on the character. The nose could definitely block a lot to the roof. I think I was just messing up. Yeah, that's all that is. Something's messing up because the 2D squares are definitely higher, so it is what it is. More stuff for me to figure out though in the future. And next time, controller compatibility will be here because that will be an actual full update. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.